Howdy again folks, today we'll be testing the living daylights out of a high-spec telephoto zoom lens for Fuji's X camera system, their professional level XF 55-200mm f3.5 to 4.8 R LM OIS. It's only for Fuji's X system cameras, it has image stabilization, and it also has a slightly brighter maximum aperture than normal for a telephoto zoom lens, which is always helpful. And its medium telephoto zoom range is the full frame equivalent of 83-300mm. So that's a useful zoom range, but not quite enough reach to make it easy for wildlife photography. But anyone who's a fan of using 70-300mm lenses on a full frame camera will almost feel at home with this lens. Although at £600 or $700 it is on the expensive side. Firstly, let's look at build quality. The lens is a little large but not too bulky, weighing in at about 550 grams. It feels lovely and solid, being made of a mixture of metal and plastic. It features an aperture control ring and switches for automatic aperture control and for the image stabilization. The broad zoom ring is rubberized and turns very smoothly and evenly. This lens is not parfocal though, it changes focus as you zoom in and out. The manual focus ring at the end, as usual, also turns extremely smoothly and responds quite well to being manipulated. For your interest, here's how much the lens focus breathes. Well, it doesn't really at all, I'm pleased to say. I have to apologise here because I forgot to get footage of the autofocus motor at work, sorry, but I can tell you that it is silent and works averagely quickly. The autofocus is also accurate, although weirdly, when I was shooting at 200mm and f8, it kept missing, but only at that exact setting. Weird. The lens has built-in image stabilization. Here's some footage with it turned off and now turned on. It seems to be doing a good job there, although it's not quite rock steady. The lens's filter thread size is 62mm and it comes with a very deep lens hood. Overall, top marks for build quality here, really. Alright, image quality. Now this is a slightly older lens in Fuji's lineup, but I'm going to challenge it with a 24 megapixel camera, a Fuji X-T20 with in-camera corrections turned on. At 55mm and f3.5, image quality is lovely and sharp in the middle with good contrast. Good news is, the corners look very nice too. Stop down to f5.6 for really excellent quality there, but that's as good as it gets I'm afraid. f11 is beginning to look a little softer. Well, let's zoom into 120mm. The new maximum aperture here is f4.2. Good news is that the image quality remains really strong in the middle. Corners look a touch soft now. f5.6 is a little sharper there, and f8 looks very impressive. f11 still looks nice here too. Finally, 200mm. Here, at the new maximum aperture of f4.8, we continue to see nice resolution in the middle, although with slightly lower contrast now. The corner image quality is just okay here. It's the same at f8, but f11 looks pretty nice and sharp. So generally, this Fuji lens is fairly impressive, especially considering that we're testing on a 24 megapixel camera. It gives a lot more resolution and contrast than its cheaper brother, the XC 50-230mm. Alright, let's move on to distortion and vignetting. Generally, at the widest aperture throughout the zoom range, there's some noticeable vignetting in the corners, but stop down and they brighten up. There doesn't seem to be any distortion at 55mm, but zoom in and some gentle pincushion distortion is projected. Next, close-up image quality. This lens can focus down to about 1 meter, pretty nice. At close-up distances, even at f4.8, the lens remains nice and sharp. How does this lens work against bright lights? Well, whether you're zoomed in or zoomed out, it seems to offer really impressive resistance to flaring. That's pretty useful. Finally, bokeh. As I mentioned earlier, this lens has a slightly brighter maximum aperture than usual, yielding slightly more out-of-focus backgrounds than normal for a smaller sized telephoto zoom lens. Backgrounds look really lovely and smooth, really impressive. Overall, this is an awesome lens. Lovely build quality, lots of sharpness, nice maximum aperture, smooth bokeh, and good contrast. The only question is 55-200mm really enough reach for you? If you're taking pictures of birds, my own personal hobby, then you'll have to sneak up very close to them. But for general telephoto photography and some casual portrait shots, it does come highly recommended.